Hey, office staff. I am here with Marissa Block, one of our new counselors, and you all have been working super hard to fill her schedule. And the billing department's been working super hard to get claims paid and program management and um, every bookkeeping. Everybody's doing their thing to make this happen. And Marissa told me that she has over 30 clients on her schedule next week, which is tremendous. I mean, that's been like a big goal that we've had. An even bigger goal is to change lives, to have the honor for Marissa to walk alongside of these clients and offer them hope and healing in the way that she interacts with them. These clients are far more than a number. It takes numbers to make all this work, but these are individual lives. And so I just wanted you all to have a glimpse into what you're doing is making a huge difference for people. And first, to do that, I wanted to just share one scripture with you all. Okay, is this up on your screen, Marissa?
It's entering the screen. Share it again.
Okay. All right.
There we go.
Bingo.
All right, I see
This is review for the office staff. This is brand new for you, Marissa. Psalm 1, it just says, "Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night." So I'm sure you're studying counseling and not literally meditating on God's law day and night. But the verse I really wanted to get to is verse 3. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. And so our vision is to have a team of counselors that are like that tree planted by streams of water that yield its fruit in season. And we're here today just to celebrate some of the fruit that's been happening from Marissa's work with clients. And when I first met her and interacting today, I can tell you all, this is a counselor who is very optimistic, very gifted at walking with people where they're at. Somebody who creates a place of hope, which is our tagline. I mean, she just exudes that in the way that she interacts. Hope, that's what she dispenses to people. And I'm sure you'll pick that up. Think about what a tree planted by streams of water does. First of all, if you're like me, whenever you're in a place like that and there's a stream, you don't really gravitate toward the part of the stream where there's no trees, where there's maybe just tall grass and it's open. You instinctively gravitate toward where there's trees by the stream. It draws you, at least for me. That's how it works. And that tree provides fresh air. It provides shade. It's refreshing. I mean, it's just a place you want to go to. And so I really think that's a great picture of what we're doing as we meet with clients, is providing that kind of atmosphere to begin with. So enough of my preaching. Marissa, tell us, you were telling me about 2 cases earlier. Tell us about the couple that you have worked with, and just, kind of walk us through the 5-minute version of what was happening when they came to you, what some of the issues were, and just some of the interventions you used, and kind of what you've seen happen in their marriage.
Right. So I had a couple come in with the presenting problem of a lack of trust, and that was caused by the wife engaging, and she was unfaithful. So there was infidelity in the relationship. But that might have been what drew them into therapy. But what soon came about was just this complete disconnect between the two of them. So a lack of communication, a lack of knowing the struggles that each other was going through, and a lot of this overwhelming sense of feeling alone, while even though they were married with children. And so we started dissecting, one, what were her reasons for choosing to be unfaithful, engaging in another romantic relationship for roughly 6 months. So a long period of time in which she was really taking away energy from her marriage, and felt that she needed to get some kind of connection in a new place. And when I go to what he was experiencing during that time, he says, well, I just thought it was just this natural. I just thought we were both really busy. I thought everything was fine how it was. And so that really kind of to me said, wow, there's been no communication about this. And on top of that, she's feeling alone enough and disconnected enough to go somewhere else. And so we started reflecting how they each felt and their take on the situation. And that was something that was totally new to them. They had really they're like, I've never just tried to repeat back what the other said, basically reflect it. Right. But through doing that and really getting them to buy into that process, it gained a lot of understanding, a lot of clarification, and just making sure that they were on the same page and hearing each other. So communication, that they were encouraged to do that outside of therapy. And every week they come back saying, we did it. So one, it was cool to see that these people had faith in the therapeutic process as well, but also the drive to want to do it together. And then, another huge piece was, well, what was causing you to feel alone? So this disconnect, and one being complete lack of communication. But we did things like going back to periods of their relationship where it was a time of hope and happiness and love and connection, and what was missing in today, to try to utilize strengths that they already had. And then on top of that, adding in conflict resolution skills. How do you, when you're feeling some kind of negative emotion, especially resentment or feeling alone, how do you address that with your partner, and get that need addressed? But the other component of this was, where does God play a role in your marriage? And how does the wife's relationship with God, how does that affect her infidelity and what she's going to do about it moving forward and to keep it from happening and that disconnect? And so through that process, it really came out that she was in a state of denial about, I felt like I was very involved in the church. In fact, she started becoming more involved in the church and in women's groups. And she said that I wanted to overcompensate for the part of me that, of course, was being unfaithful. And really just not thinking about that, but knowing that she needed to get some need met. And so we really spent a lot of time talking about, okay, identify codependency, where you're really seeking certain needs or approval to be met by your partner. And how do you turn that codependency into something that looks healthy, like wanting things from the other, but really relying on God solely to depend upon for your needs to be met and to not feel so alone. And so it was just utilizing spirituality and emotional connection and homework outside and reflection and understanding and changing the language and dialogue they use with each other. So at the end of our therapy, they said they were coming in with well, we did all that and it's great. And that's great. And that's great. And so when asking, okay, well, do you want to come together less, or, where do you see this going as far as therapy? They were able to say, well, we really feel like we're in a good place. And the man, was like, well, this marriage is literally saved. We're open again and reconnect.
Yeah, they told you that, didn't they? You saved their marriage.
Yeah.
Was the way they put it.
That is how he put it, which is cool. But at the same time, I was stressing the importance that you guys are responsible for making the changes.
Right. They did the work. God used you to help save their marriage, and the office staff God used to save their marriage too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Doing what they do. This would have never happened.
Right. Oh yeah, it's a huge team.
I like a lot of the ground that you covered in a short video. We're throwing out this word emotional connection a lot. And I mean, that's a big term. I mean, if we had a half an hour, you and I could go back and forth and break that down. But earlier you mentioned words like empathy, vulnerability. That's how emotional connection is built. And that's a lot of the work that you were explaining to me you did with this couple is you help them to actually, empathy is stepping outside of your own pain that you're in. So you have two people in pain, and the natural tendency for all of us in that kind of situation is to think about ourselves. What am I not getting out of this interaction, out of this marriage that I want? And empathy is stepping outside of that and into your partner's shoes and feeling what they feel and really trying to meet those needs based on compassion and feeling what they feel. It's beyond the intellect to the heart, entering into their space emotionally. And I mean, that's hard work. And I know that that's like a lot of the work that you did with them. And then another piece would, that you talked about was, or alluded to at least, was vulnerability. Is
Yeah.
it's easy for all of us, right, when we're hurt, to say you, but to open ourselves up to say, what I would like is whatever, or let me break down for you what's going on inside of me. That's vulnerability. And
Yeah.
that's how connection happens, is when we're vulnerable and we're empathetic. And I also just love how you wove in the spiritual piece, that does give so much hope, to people, to know that there's a God who empowers them. God helps us to meet others' needs. In our moment of pain, God meets us and helps us. And it was really evident in our earlier conversation that you helped this woman to sense, in the midst of her trial, her shortcomings, her affair, that somehow you helped her to meet God as her advocate in that.
Right.
And
Instead
I mean, at her most guilty point, where she's caught in an affair, that's a real gift, to help her to see God is still in the midst of all this. God is your advocate.
right. And we used meaning making of what unconditional love meant to
Right,
also, we used how God's unconditional love looks in order
right.
to kind of shape how they wanted to define unconditional love and really what that meant and what it looked like to each other.
Boy, that's tremendous.
Yeah, it was helpful. I mean, we couldn't do it without God.
Yeah. Give us we spend most of the time on that case. Give us like the 60-second version of the other case of the man who is dealing with some grief and addiction issues.
Right. Okay. So a middle-aged man came in having lost his wife of 29 years due to 16 years of the marriage being quite, quote, normal, and the last 11 or 12 being really hard as she developed MS and then became addicted to painkillers. And then eventually her daughter, who was involved in a heroin addiction, led her to start using heroin as well, his wife. And so he found her dead due to heroin, due to an overdose. And in the same year, his stepdaughter, his wife's daughter, had died as well due to a heroin-related death by being killed due to it.
Yeah.
And so he came in completely lost, expressing that he is simply existing, and but he doesn't feel any guilt or regret. And he then we've started defining what he's going through to try to gain understanding and like more language around grief. And
Right.
he has come to the realization that he was totally in a state of avoidance, but he wants to move forward to accepting it. And through that, he has said a tremendous amount of guilt and shame has popped up that I didn't know was there. And so I call it an ongoing success, because every week he is like, I'm trying this, I'm doing this, versus before he was literally isolating himself and disengaged with society.
Wow. So you have really helped him to walk into some dark places that before he came in that he would have rather have not really dealt with, and just lived life burying the pain and the events that happened and just kind of going on with life. And you've helped him walk into those dark places, experience relief, go through the grieving process some, and come out the other side, or beginning to come out really wanting to help other people that have been affected by addiction, and just be used as a place of hope himself for others that have gone through that.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, boy, so I hope that this gives our office staff just a flavor of what happens in these rooms, in these churches, these office condos, that kind of for 20 minutes get on the front line and kind of take a peek and see what it's like and see the difference that you all are making. That I couldn't do what I do, Marissa and the other counselors couldn't do what they do without you all in the office. It's thankless work sometimes, but really know that what you do, it's affecting a lot of lives in really deep ways. So thanks everybody. I hope that this was encouraging for you all.
Yes. I say thank you as well for all the work you guys do to get people lined up with people that are like me who really want to help walk along them.
Yeah.